Hello, and you probably can't hear me too well. All right, there we go. It helps be prepared. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to continue on this week with Bryan's favorites, looking at some of the stuff that I've really enjoyed over the past year that we've been doing this, which is kind of wild, a full year. I mentioned at the beginning of the week that the anniversary was technically November 5th, but this is actually the 52nd week of doing things. I took a couple of breaks over the last year, and we're just doing a little celebration here because of that. So today's is going to be one of the randomly selected wins, or randomly selected bands from the poll. What I did was I picked my 10 favorite bands and had a poll gave the Patreons a poll, and based on the results is what we actually checked out this week. So yes, all 5 of the bands we're checking out this week are my favorites. I selected them personally, but I did not personally select the specific bands that we do each day. So this one is selected randomly from the higher half of the poll. And this is Cheeto's Magazine, which was just kind of a weird oddball combination of a lot of genres with having a lot of comedy in it. And I feel like comedy and metal, or even comedy and technical music as a whole, is just a really difficult pair. Not a lot of people plan to do it. A lot of people take music fairly seriously. We don't get a lot of the comedy in it. And I just really enjoy what they were bringing to the table. I don't I wasn't 100% impressed with Cheetos Magazine the first time we listened to them. It was definitely a strange combination in a lot of manners, but I needed some comedy this week. I tossed them in there, really hoping that it would get picked. And it did. I don't think it was the only comedic band or band that did comedic aspects. I think there was another one in the poll. But I'm glad that one of them got picked because we need something that's just a little less serious, I think, for the week. And I think this is going to be a really nice palate cleanser to something like the Mars Volta, which was a heavily sort of serious song, hyper serious, very much about the music and the emotion of the music. This is going to be an interesting palate cleanser that kind of goes in the opposite direction. I'm thinking based on what we've listened to with Cheetos Magazine before and what they brought to the table last time. So let's get to it. This one is called Chili Guillermo. Yeah, it's so bright and happy.
I am so fluffy around pepperoni. Guillermo. Bring me the Scotchman, I'm burning, I'm burning.
Those harmonies.
Take me down to the people of the ground. Bring me back and I swear I'll be around.
Oh, it's just this makes me so happy.
Where's the Scotchman? And I told you I am burning. Take me down to the people of the ground. Bring me back and I swear I'll be around.
Ooh, nice little triplet thrown in there. I was gonna say that section was still happy, but it was starting to get a little bit of some dark tones to it. But then we're like right back to this like chill little party. Very nice. Mute it down a little bit so it sounds like it's on the other side of the recording wall. Oh man, cut that down to halftime and give it that big epic feel. Ooh. Love that little bass lick right there.
Now I'm tired, I'm still walking around, taking my last steps. Take my hand, I'll
Yeah.
be more than a friend. Just don't say forever. And you are so senseless. Forever. And you are.
Yeah. Love that bass tone. It's wide but not overbearing. Bearing. What are we doing? These guys are just having a blast, and their energy is infectious.
Take me down to the people of the ground. Bring me back and I swear I'll be around. Go away until everything's okay. Don't forget there are secrets in the cage. Now I'm back to the people of the ground. I'm awake and I swear
It's just,
I'll be around.
it's this beautiful combination of so much uplifting music. Yeah. Oh man. Oh man. How could you not love that? How could anyone not love that? Oh man. It just melts me. Makes me so happy to listen to people passionate about music just playing what makes them joyous. It makes these guys smile and laugh to perform this with their buddies, just jamming out this beautiful melody, just gorgeous music with some nice little tongue-in-cheek music ideas to kind of give little bits of musical comedy, like everybody muting their instruments right on that last instrument and waiting before coming in. Like it was just enough of a length with like, okay, was that, was that staccato stop, that just halting that music, was that the ending? Was it? And then like boom, and they come back in with the big, ending note, and I'm like, oh, you got me. Like, ah, man, it's just like those little bits of uh like a combination of anticipation and oh man, just kind of having the rug swept out from under you. You're kind of anticipating one thing, and they come in and they subvert it. Expectation subversion. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, it's a little bit of like leading on the listener. Making them expect something, and then just completely subverting it. And they do that a couple of times, and it's all done just real tongue in cheek with a smile on their face, and you can't help. It's just so infectious. Their joy and passion. You can't. Okay, I'm not gonna put words in anyone's mouth, but I can't watch this without just being filled with happiness. I love it. This is what music is about to me. Yes, music can be used as a tool to explore human emotions that are maybe more on the darker side, and to kind of explore darker themes. Music can be used for a lot of things. It is a very wide tool, but this also right here is just what I love about music is people coming together for the joy of song. Oh man. And I think the part that really gets me, because there is happy music out there, right? There are people who genuinely sing happy music, and they genuinely sing happy music. They are happy people, and they bring joy to the listeners. We see a lot of this in pop. A lot of pop is feel good. But I think what really sets this apart is the technicality in the music and the performance. Something that I don't really get with pop typically is virtuosity in performance, because a lot of the instrumental aspect is automated. It's either recorded uh, live, but then never played live, or it's completely done with samples and stuff like that. Um, and we see this in, pop performances. When you go and watch a pop singer perform their stuff live, you don't see a band with them. You see backup dancers, usually. Not always necessarily, but for a lot of mainstream popular pop artists, there tends to be a dance routine with the singing. And to me, I enjoy it for a completely different reason that I enjoy music. So for me to get that happy, joyous aspect from pop music, but in a context that is more musically oriented, yeah, there's just no substitute for that. There really isn't. It's just such a good combination. And these guys do it in spades. It reminds me of watching um, Dirty Loops. Those guys just really love playing with each other and jamming out. Same thing with Scary Pockets. Like these people, they just get into these rooms, they jam out together, and they're all smiling. It's just infectious. They're playing this real, like uplifting, groovy music and just having a good time. You can tell they're having fun, and that makes me have fun. And I just love that. I wish more bands could do this. I kind of want to say Arch Echo, Echo Wheel, Arch Wheel. Man, I'm kind of disappointed I forgot about their name. Anyways, they're an instrumental band that does kind of like gent, retro electronica combination stuff, and I kind of remember their music was uplifting, but I don't remember if like I could see in their faces that they were just enjoying themselves. I kind of think so. I don't think this sort of music is unrepresented or underrepresented, but it definitely is not the norm. And while we have seen plenty of it on this channel to make it so that Cheetos Magazine isn't kind of an isolated event, as far as the channel goes, it's just so refreshing. We go so long listening to serious music, usually a bit in the heavier side, that this is just such a refresher for me. to just jam out and chill. Oh, Snarky Puppy was another one, right? Just really talented people coming together and just jamming. It's just so good, so good. Um, Talking about the music specifically though, the dude's voice is really good. He has a nice, smooth butteriness to it, but then he pulls out like the Sesame Street Muppet voice, and it always throws me off. Like it's so weird. Um, it's just something I'm not accustomed to. I guess weird's unusual for my listening. Weird has like negative connotations. I was like, just get that out of my vocabulary. It's unusual for me. It's different. Um, but I kind of hate saying this because I feel like it's part of the band's identity. Personality is very present last time, I think. But I appreciate that it was sort of withheld. It came up a couple of times, but most of the vocal stuff was his typical clean. And his clean is just so clean. He just has a really nice clean, though, and I love it. Um, the music they're layering is phenomenal. I feel like a lot of their compositional depth comes from the way that they layer everything. The bass, the guitar, the keyboard, they have a lot of moving lines that they have to juggle, and they just do a really good job of making sure that they all work together without stumbling on anybody's toes, but also while adding something more, some context to what's going on around it. And it always comes together to be something bigger than on its own. This is definitely a band that is larger than the sum of its parts, especially when you actually look at each individual instrument and you realize that while there is some stuff going on, it's not anywhere near some of the most technical stuff we've listened to on the channel. We see a lot of eighth note runs around here, but we don't really see anything more difficult to play than that. And it's not so much about what the individual instrument is doing, but how it's working within the other instruments and how the textures are combining. When do we have counterpoint and when do we have harmony running the same line with different textures, or maybe a couple steps apart in the notes so that you get triad harmonies and stuff like that. The way that they pick and choose when to do counterpoint, when to layer the same line through multiple instruments, they just have a real knack for finding exactly what's going to cut through for that section and amplify the emotion they're going for. And I like how a lot of the song was fairly bright, right? It was definitely an uplifting, kind of groovy, bouncy track, but a lot of the tones were brighter as well, and it kind of leans into that happiness. But it doesn't make, or they don't shy away from kind of having some darker tones and maybe introducing some not so bright chord and note relationships just to add a little bit of darkness in there at times. It's a little bit like walking a fine line between being a completely uplifting song, just happy and perky all the time, and showing this little bit of dark side that not all happiness is 100% pure happiness. There's always tinges of darkness. Life is never one extreme or another. It's always a mix of both sides, regardless of what it is. Any emotion, any feeling, everything. It's always mixed. That's one of the cool things about humanity, is that we don't have extremes. We have a nice mixture. Everything is always a mixture. Um, and I like how they show that in here. Right? There's these little pockets where you're like, ooh, yeah, it's got a little darkness to it. And even if it's just the tone, right? They could not change anything with the actual melodic lines, the note relationships, the chords that are being used, but they just, especially on the keyboard, which can change its tone really easily, just kind of introduce something a little darker, right? Real nice. They also do a little bit of experimentation with the guitar when he pulls in the slider thimble. I have no idea what that thing is called, but when he puts the metal tube on his finger and uses it to kind of get that sliding sound out of the guitar, and then he pairs it with the um dang, what's that pedal called? Anyways, he gets like these drastic slides. I think Tom Morello is kind of seen as the not creator, but maybe the one who kind of popularized this technique of using the metal slider plus the wah pedal. Is that it? It's a wah pedal, right? Yeah, I think it's a wah pedal. Um, I this is why I typically write for acoustic instruments and not always electric instruments, because electric, there's so much stuff, right? You can do anything you want to modulate the sound of an instrument. But with acoustic instruments, it's usually what you hear is what you get. There's different ways you might be able to play it to get, tiny tweaks to the way the sound sounds when it comes out of the instrument. But for the most part, the timbre and tone that it's got is the timbre and tone you're going to get out of it. It's so much easier to write for it because the options are not limitless. So there's just so much that you can do with electric instruments. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know everything that you can add, all the pedals and effects and everything that you can do with this stuff. So I'm actually really surprised I got wah pedal. I was on the verge of just moving on and then it clicked and I was like, I got it, I think. I'm still I'm still like 70%. I'm like, is that the wah pedal? I just said it definitively, but I could have definitively been very wrong there. But yeah, let's keep moving though. Yeah, just little bits of experimentation like that. Um, just a way to change the tone a little bit, just like with the pianist, how he can change the tone on his keyboard just by changing some of the settings. That was a way for the guitarist to change his tone up a little bit and to kind of segment that part of the song, which comes to probably my only criticism. The song is kind of samey all throughout. There are these little pockets where we get some textural differences, but for the most part, it feels like we were just bouncing between verse and chorus, verse and just back and forth, back and forth. Um, I feel like we were at the chorus like 5 times easily. And maybe that's, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't picking up on some of the more subtle nuances just because I was jamming out so hard. I just love it, man. I love it. So much of this was just watching their joy. I'm not going to lie. I did just kind of check out and, just start jamming and watching their happiness and just kind of having that infectiousness hit me, and my brain's like, I'm checking out, we're just gonna chill right now because this is good stuff. um but yeah, I kind of want to give it a pass because I just enjoyed the perkiness of it. It's like it's got good groove, real happy uplifting kind of melodies and counterpoint going on, and you just kind of want to sit in that pocket forever. But I think after this first listen, I don't know how often I would come back to this specific song because it does feel like it kind of goes in circles for a while. And maybe on a fifth or 10th listen, I might find that it's a little too repetitive for my tastes after I've kind of gotten over that initial, I don't know, initial enamoring with just how beautiful everything's working. And yeah, and then I really start getting into the nitty gritty of it, and maybe the 7 minutes of the same concept repeated might grow a bit thin for me on future listens. Unfortunately, like I said, that's really my only um, criticism here, is that it's just a little too repetitious. We hit that chorus too many times. There wasn't enough movement, and I kind of remember the last track we checked out had a lot of areas to it, and maybe I'm misremembering that, but it was a little more proggy, and maybe that's just one of their more out there tracks. Maybe this is more their wheelhouse, and they just wrote something out there because they wanted to change things up. I don't know. This is also more recent, and maybe they've kind of honed in on the kind of music they want to make, and it's this, and this is just, this is their bread and butter now. I don't know what the circumstances are, but I feel like this is missing just a little bit of change, a little bit of opportunity to kind of spice things up in the middle. But honestly, as far as criticisms go, that's not too bad. Especially, like I said, in the past, they have done that. So, yeah, just a real infectious, feel good track, man. This and I've listed a couple other bands that just have this joy to listen to watch. You can see that they're having fun. I just love this stuff. I eat it up. It's so good. I think this is one of the few things that I like live performances for, even though I'm pretty sure this is a studio quality audio with just a live video behind it. But I don't know, you don't get that often in live videos. Usually it because it's concerts and stuff, and you're seeing them put on the show. But I don't know, I just love watching people in a room playing together and just enjoying that time with their friends. I don't know what else I can say, man. It's just so sweet to sit in a room and jam with your buddies. And it's infectious to watch other people enjoy that same thing. So that's gonna wrap this one up for me. This is where you guys come in though. Hit me up with your thoughts and opinions. Let me know what you thought of Cheeto's magazine, Chili Guillermo, and drop that stuff in the comments. You can also check out the description box above the comment section. There's some links in there for stuff adjacent to the channel. If you'd like to check out blocked videos, or maybe look at the Patreon, see what's going on over there, or maybe you just want to check out my Twitter. I post over there fairly regularly with cool stuff I find that's music adjacent, or usually just music. Actually, I do just post a lot of cool music over there. So yeah, if you're interested in any of that, check those links out in the description. There's also a like, a subscribe, and a bell button if you like to get notifications. Maybe you enjoy what I'm doing. They help out the channel, and they can help out you if you'd like to get notified about future videos. All right, I will be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC, with the next Bryan's Favorites, and that'll be Oh, we got a weird one tomorrow. And then Friday, we're just going to have a lot of fun because it'll be my pick and it's something that I'm looking forward to. So, really excited about that. Like I said, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC for more of this critical reaction stuff. If you're interested, come by and check it out again. All right. You guys stay safe out there. Keep being awesome and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.